This is the third and final installment of the Classic C tutorial. I'll be going over hole 18. I will show you how to play this hole with every wind combination, which means I'll show every wind direction and every wind speed. I'll be going in clockwise order, starting from north, so I'll just go north, northeast, east, and so on, ending at northwest. I'll go first to 20 miles per hour, then 22, 24, and so forth, until 30 miles per hour. If you're looking for a specific wind, you can use this data to help you find it. I'll put some timestamps in the description though. If you, for example, want to know how to play 24 North, I'll recommend you just watch the entirety of North, the section about North Wind, because I'll sprinkle in some important facts in that entire section, so I don't repeat myself constantly. I will not be going any Albatross setups, those exist, but this is to get an eagle only. And by getting an eagle, I mean getting an eagle without a replay. So I will also not be going over strategies to get fast driver tips. And since we're trying to get an eagle, I am not going over coin flip 18. That's a very top level strategy, and this guide is mostly aimed at mid skilled players and golf pro class speedruns. So without further ado, let's start with 20 North. 20 North, there are two main ways you can do this first shot. You can just like aim right down the middle of the left island, um, which is sort of the safe way to do it. You can aim anywhere and you'll be fine. Or if you're trying to go fast, you can just do this. You can do a shot bent to the left. This way you'll save a good amount of time, to be honest, like over half a second. But the second shot is a bit harder because you don't know quite where you are. In general, when dealing with north winds, you don't really care about this, but there is a west component, and you need to take it into account since the winds are so strong. Like here, I aimed quite a bit to the right, because we have uh, the west component. Over here, you want to do like that, a 3.8 full backspin. Should work very well. And yeah, that's 20 north. Not a very complicated wind. You can choose to play for speed or for safety. Now on to 22 north. 22 north is the exact same. You can choose to like do a bend shot. Obviously, don't redline. Redlining is bad. You don't want to do it. If you need to bend this shot, I recommend. Let's go back. I recommend the setup you use, the visual setup, is to wait until you're pretty much around here. Like your aim is just past the islands, looking at the minimap. Like here, you can bend your shot and it's going to be good. It's gonna be good. With 22 north, there's no risk of ending up in the rough. So you can just very easily do the shot. Take into account the west component. Here instead of a 3.8, you're gonna want to do like a 3.5 or so. It depends really on where exactly your shot lands, but I'm generally aiming for a 3.5. That's it. You can sort of modulate your shots. If you aim very far left after your initial first shot, you probably need to do aim quite a bit farther to the right than you would expect. Besides, ending too far to the right is infinitely better than ending too far to the left. So take that into account when aiming. So yeah, that's 22 north. Now to 24. Starting from 24, I personally don't like doing this strategy. You can most certainly do it. It definitely works. But once the winds start to get too strong, you actually run the risk of ending up in the rough. With 24 north, it's pretty hard to end up in the rough. So if you want to do the advanced strategy, there's like low risk.
Nice shot.
But if you do aim, don't aim like straight down the middle like I just have. There's a risk that you'll end up on the rough. So I actually do recommend doing the shot that I just did, even though it worked well. Starting from 24 north onwards, I like to aim around here. As you can see, there is like a pretty big patch of fairway to the left. And what doing this shot means is that you're never ever gonna hit the rough. And I definitely prefer the safety. Um, I guess it depends on like whether you're doing Golf Pro or you're doing Classic C standalone, what strats you're gonna go for. So here I wanna aim pretty far right, as always. Do sort of like a 3.5 or so, maybe even a bit less. Something like that. Here I ended up a bit shorter than I expected. Theory here dictates that you need to aim like one tick to the right. It's very hard to know exactly what you need to do, but this time it works. I'll probably be going over the different greens as the course of this tutorial advances. So yeah, that's 24 north. On to 26. Again, with 26, you can do the band strategy perfectly fine. And absolutely no problem with going for it. But again, you start running a greater risk of ending up in the rough. So I don't really recommend it. I'm going to do this approach very quickly. I messed it up. Oh, maybe not. This is a doable putt. But I'm going to show you a safer strategy that I like doing. Yeah, that's not an easy putt. You need to shoot faster than you think in 18, always. So, you wanna aim for the left than you're used to. If you play 18 holes and then just full shot. You end up at 148. You need to remember to club down to 7 iron. The one starting as 144 yards, you'll get the 7 iron by default. You need to be careful, like because you're like right in the area where you can be like either 142 or 146. It's hard to know in advance. I undershot that one. Here you want to do a 3.5. You can save this, but it's very difficult. You generally won't make it. I'll try this again. I'll show off the method. So aim further left than usual. Hit it straight.
Shot.
142, so I know I'll be using the 7 iron by default. Aim quite a ways to the right. That's again a bit too low, so I'm just gonna practice mod my way out of this. Aim to the right. That's a bit stronger. I wanted a 3.5, but that's gonna work well because I can show you how to do this putt. This putt is something you need to learn if you do Golf Pro, because you're gonna end up in this situation very often. You wanna aim quite a bit to the right. Something like that. It doesn't look like it, but the green is sloped to the right. Or to the left, I mean, so you need to aim right. So that is 26 north. And the backup, in case you end up overshooting. Knowing that backup is very useful. Not for only for north, but for anyone. Again, here you can bend. Up to you what you want to do. That can happen. When you start with 28 north, the risks start becoming very real that you end up in the rough. You end up in the rough, there's not really much you can do. You can try doing sort of like shot that rolls over. Maybe not with a 5 iron, maybe with a 3 iron it works better. Something like this. To be honest, I try not to get myself into that situation, so I don't quite know what is optimal, but that's a sensible backup in my opinion. Then my good thought. But 28 north, exact same story as 26 and 24. Aim to the left and shoot it. Oh, I was at 144, so I have a 7 iron by default. I needed to be more um, attentive. That shot I think is gonna be fine. You wanna shoot a bit stronger than that though, like a 3.4. That works better. We are here. Generally one tick to the right for safety. It's extremely hard to know like what the green wants. There, if I didn't aim that tick to the right, I wouldn't have gone in. So that is 28 north. Nothing different. And 30 north is literally the exact same theory as everything else. So I'm not gonna do demonstration of the bad shot. I'm just gonna do the strategy that I think is best, which is to aim pretty far left. Yeah, this one is crucial because if you don't aim far left, you are going to end up in the rough. There is no going around it. You wanna aim pretty far to the right. And this time, if you do like a 3.2, 3.3, it's actually gonna work really well. That was sort of a 3.5-ish, and it way overshot. You're on the left side of the green. Just doing a knowing shot will pretty much always suffice. So that is north. Very easy win, in my opinion. If you do the safe strategy, it's not a hard deal at all. Now, on to northeast. Northeast, no matter if you're speedrunning or doing Golf Pro, or I mean, Golf Pro is a speedrun, but I meant Classic C. You always want to do like a bend shot, like right around here, and do a full bend. Uh, I just personally use this method, and I think it's more consistent. I'm just better, pretty much. Uh, Here you want to aim quite a ways to the left. 20 miles per hour. You don't want to do full. If the situation lends itself to it, you can do full. But in general, a 3.8 is safer. Again, you need to modulate based on like what you know. From here it's easy. I'm going to show why. Like an alternative strategy to 20 miles per hour only. Like if you don't want to bend, well, that doesn't count, really. You want to do something like this, without bending, you can most certainly do it. You're gonna end up farther away, but in this case, it can be seen as an advantage. Because at 151 yards away, you can do a full shot, and it is going to work. So, maybe in this specific situation, it may be better to not bend.
Nice on.
It depends on your playstyle, really. Bending is obviously faster. So that is 20. 22. There are no real advantages to not bending, so I'm just gonna do the bending strategy. Just before in your minimap, you reach the left island. Before the yellow diamond touches the left island, you do a full bend shot. 149. You're going to top down, aim quite a ways to the left. That is a 3.5. That is a bit low. Yeah, I hit the rough. With 22, you want something closer to a 3.8. Like that shot still works, but you need to do hard putts. So I'm going to try again the same strat. Just before the minimap reaches before my aim reaches the left hand, I shouldn't bend. This time I shot a tiny bit later than before, so I'm going to end up farther away. 155. Since I'm at 155, I know my shot needs to be a bit stronger than usual. Looking at the yardage, I found can be immensely powerful for Northeast in specific. Because if you play it fast, there can be variance, and that variance can make a lot of difference. So that is 22. Now on to 24. Or not. That's very too late. 24, exactly the same thing. Right around here, more or less. Closer to the left hand before you touch it. Full shot, full bend left. It's very safe to do, by the way. There's virtually no risk of you falling off. 144, so I get a 7 iron. Aim to the left, like around the rough or here. That's a bit strong. I prefer doing like a 3.5. This shot works. That's like still a shot to be happy about. But I'm going to show you like that's much better, like a 3.5. I didn't aim enough to the left, but as you can see, the power was perfect. And if you're on the right side of the green, you know it's a full shot, no aim. Always, pretty much always. Like with the 18 green, there's always some edge case, but the right side is very predictable, it's just full shot. So that's 24 Northeast, simple wind. 26 Northeast, exact same story. Just before you reach the left island, you want to bend. It's safer to be closer to the main island than farther away, but still the risk of you falling off is minuscule. 145, it seems you still get the 7 iron. I think there's like some cases where you get the 7 iron and some cases where you don't, depending on your decimals, but those decimals are inquantifiable. You want to aim to the left, pretty much on the level of the rough. 3.5 is better. Like I cut it very close to the edge there with a 3.4. That's much better. You can see like the shot is not too different in the end, but like the safety of mind I think is better. I guess what I can say is that as the northeast power increases, you want to decrease the power of your second shot by around 0.1 or 0.2. Like we're down to sort of a 3.5 and we started with 3.9 using the bend strategy. So I guess you can use that on your head to remember. Now on to 28. Exact same strategy. If you do it fast, like I do it fast because I really think there's no risk to doing it this way. It's impossible to end up in the rough. I guess like I can show maybe the worst case scenario, but let's see what happens. Like if I shoot way too early, like that is much earlier than usual, I still make it because like the wind is so powerful. I bounced on the rough, but it really doesn't have much of an impact. You can still make the shot as normal. Here, like 3.5 is still good. Maybe you want a 3.4 or so, 3.4 bars. If you the further right you are, like the sooner you shoot your first shot, the more you'll need to aim left on the second one. Like I don't know if you saw there, like I shot very quickly. I shot like right here, and I need to aim very far left. I aimed farther left than any other time before, and I still ended up on the right side. So now let's see what happens if I shoot like right around here, like well inside the island. Full bend. Here you run the risk of ending up in the rough, which is bad, but it generally won't happen most of the time. I am farther away in this case, but I don't need to aim nearly as far left as before. Since I'm at 153 yards, like, that's a bit low. 3.5 is what you're aiming for. That shot is still workable, by the way, but that's maybe a bit strong, but it's perfectly fine. So yeah, you saw like that time I aimed nowhere near as far left and I still ended up closer to the hole. So yeah, that is 28 northeast. 30 northeast is exactly the same as everything else. I don't like too much this camera angle, it makes me think that I hit the rough, but in reality everything is fine. So you pretty much aim to the right around here, like more deep into the rough because you have very strong components. And since the wind is so strong, you actually want like something closer to a 3.3. That's like a 3.2. It's a bit like I cut it way too close there, but it's still fine. This is a recoverable shot, though obviously not ideal. I'm going to try again. I hit a 3.2, but in reality you want to hit a 3.3. So yeah, you aim, you do the double thumb grip, which if you haven't implemented yet, you definitely should because it's free time save. And you cancel your aim, should like right around here. That's again a bit too short, like just barely. We want a 3.3, not a 3.2. So that's a bit strong, that's like a 3.6. It can still, wow. As you can see, it can still work. I got a bit lucky there. I almost got an albatross, but it's better to, in my opinion at least, it's better to shoot too strongly than to shoot too weakly. Like hitting the rough there, it's very hard to recover, but if you end up on the far side of the green, it's much easier to recover. You just need to remember that you need to aim to the right. So that's northeast. Very friendly wind again. Very nice. You can mess it up, obviously, but if you apply like the safe bending strategy, there is little risk of that happening. Now on to 20 east. East is very similar actually. You wanna aim like instead of before the island, you want to aim like just as you're in the island and full bend left once again. Here I even more strongly encourage bending instead of like aiming normally. Mostly due to wind factoring. I'm going to explain it in a bit. But here, 20 miles per hour, all you want to do is like don't even aim, no matter like exactly what your kind of shot is. Don't even aim and just shoot. There will be a 3.95, but you can do a 4-bar shot and it's gonna work perfectly fine, and you end up very close to the green. The hole inside the green. I'm going to show why I don't recommend aiming. Like, you need to aim very far to the left, like probably around here.
Nice shot.
And here is when wind factoring comes into play. Wind factoring, like the wind pushes the ball. If you don't bend, the wind is gonna like instead of the ball going forward, it's going to change its trajectory to right. So the ball loses forward momentum. If you bend the shot instead, the ball, instead of like going from forward to right, it goes from bending to the left towards bending to the right, and it evens out to being a much straighter line, so it's a much better shot. You can still make the exact same strategy I suggested before, but I still do not recommend not bending. Doing a straight shot is worse bending is just a better option.
Great eagle.
Now, onto 22. Exact same case. Aim to where you're just right into the island. A full bend to the left. You're gonna end up very nicely. And here, you also don't want to bend at all. Just do that full shot, max backspin, full bend left. And it's gonna be very nice. With 20 east, you run the risk of replaying, but with 22, if you don't aim at all, there's absolutely no risk of replaying.
Great eagle.
Now on to 24. You can try to, like, this is the case for every single east. You can try to make it, like, quickly. It definitely works. I personally think it's not as lenient as with northeast. With northeast, you have a lot more wiggle room on where exactly you can aim. But with this, just canceling your aim with shooting is definitely possible, as I showed here. With 24, I actually recommend aiming a tiny bit to the left. This increases the risk of you replaying, but it gives you a chance for a much better shot, and I personally think the trade-off is worth it. So, full bend to the left, full backspin, full shot. Yeah, you see you end up very close,
Nice
6.5. You may prefer to not take the risk of replaying.
Great
Well, that is 24 ace. I recommend maybe not aiming as far left as I did, but like do 2 or 3 ticks. It'll make you happier. 26, exact same thing. I did a 3.99 there, that shot. It's very hard to tell, but I did. I'm going to show you what happens if you don't aim to the left at all. That is still a workable shot.
That's it.
Like, I'm pretty sure this shot is just perfectly straight. Yeah. But obviously, being 26 feet away is not ideal. So you want to do like the exact same first shot. It'll work wonders. And then for the second shot, just aim a bit further to the left. Like maybe around here. That looks good to me. You actually want to, like, starting from here, you can do a full shot, but doing a 3.9,
Nice on.
like 26 onwards, 28 and 32, doing a full shot works, absolutely works,
Great eagle.
but doing a 3.9 can be beneficial. I personally do it because I don't find the technique to be much harder. But if you find the technique of a 3.9 full bend pull backspin to be harder than a full, then absolutely go for the full. It's not, it's a very small difference. Now to 28. Exact same thing. There I shot a bit earlier than I would like, and this is what happens. You end up on the rough. That's why I say that it's nowhere near as lenient as northeast to like sort of wing it. I personally prefer to like stop a little bit, evaluate where exactly I'm aiming, and then shoot. You maybe if you're doing classic C, you don't want to take that extra half second to aim. But if you're doing golf pro, then absolutely just take the half second. With 28 again, you want to aim to like to the left, maybe somewhere around here. And you want to do like a 3.9. The 3.9 is good because like not only does it make your shot better, but it also reduces the risk of you replaying. If you do substantially less, then you won't replay ever. And here in 30 East, I will show you like how it looks like if you do a full shot instead of like 3.9. Because East has the... Oh wow, I ended up in the rough. So yeah, with 30 east, be very careful about that. Aim further left than you may think. It's very strong. Maybe like aiming right down the middle of the island is optimal. Aim to the left a bit. Let's see. Like full shot. This is what a full shot looks like. Um, and this is why I don't recommend it if you're good at 3.9. Like that is a good shot. This like you can certainly make this putt, but it's significant. It's actually quite a bit faster, and it lands you better to do a 3.95 or so. Obviously, doing 3.95 is not something everyone knows how to do, but picking up skills is always nice, especially in golf. So that's not a 3.95. That's closer to like a 3.8. But it still worked pretty well. That's faster, even though you end up quite a ways away. That's maybe closer to a 3.9. And I maybe should have aimed farther to the left, but as you can see, it works. And maybe not that much like right here. That's closer to the kind of shot I wanted to make and show. And yes, you can see much faster and you end up much closer. And you have some risk of replaying, but it's not a huge risk of replaying.
Great eagle.
So that is this very clear strategy you need to follow. You need to be a bit more careful than usual, but East is very nice win to get. Now to Southeast. Southeast is actually like not super good, but it's not the worst by a long shot. For 20, there are two strategies that you can employ. The first one is not as safe. I believe it's like trade-off. Easier first shot, harder second shot. You just want to full bend left, don't aim at all. And for a second shot, you aim a bit to the left and use a 3-wood. The 3-wood won't make it super far, but it makes it to the green, so it's a very good strategy. You run no risk of replaying, and it's not too tough to execute. There is a second strategy you can employ. I'm just trying a brand new strategy for you guys. I don't think it's gonna work. I'm going to show you my actual strat. Oh yeah, that definitely doesn't work. My actual strategy for 20, and I use a variation for this for every speed of Southeast. Like I aim quite a ways to the right, then full bend to the left. And you end up like around here. 243, you need to use a driver, but since we have 20 miles per hour, if you do a full shot, it's just barely not gonna work. You'll overshoot. You wanna be at 244 or so to do a full driver. In this situation, instead of doing a full like I accidentally did, you wanna do like a 3.99. That's a 3.99, it's hard to tell, but you can't tell because the ball just was further back. And you can get a nicer shot, a nicer second shot, but it's not an exact science what happens. It's hard to modulate your aiming to the right initially. So actually for 20 Southeast, I recommend the strategy that I showed off first. You can get better results with the second strat, but the first strat is just much easier. With 22, the same strat won't work. You do the exact same thing, like don't aim to the left, just full bend left. And then try to use the 3-wood. I'm almost certain that even if you make it to the island, you won't make it to the green. Yeah. You can improve that first and second shots, obviously, but you still end up, like, pretty far away. And that is, like, a non-trivial putt, I would say. It's hard to know exactly where you need to aim. And there I'm just shooting poorly. Something like that, maybe? Nah. Yeah, that is a hard
Nice
putt.
approach.
So, like, from 22 onwards, I actually recommend the strat that I showed up before. Aim, like, pretty far to the right, a decent amount, and then full bend left. Here, the yardage you're looking for is 243, maybe 242 also work. Oh wow, 247. Let's see. 247, I don't know if it's gonna work. Oh wow, it did. So maybe 243 was a bit too optimistic. 247 seems to work. Uh, but I'm going to try again to show at 243, maybe 244. Don't think so far to the right, I guess. It's, as I said, it's pretty hard to modulate. I don't have like an exact strat. So, like 241, if you do a full shot, I'm just going to show it quickly. 241, you're going to bounce on the fairway just barely, and you'll end up very far to backwards.
Great approach.
So you're looking for a 242, 243 yards. If you're at the 241 or the 240s, you just do a 3.9, and wow. You also need to be careful to not replay a iron. That's like you can get an accidental albatross using this strategy. Um, I guess if you want to be very careful, you should not aim as far left. So yeah, just free replay avoiding tip right there for 22, but it also works for everything. 24, you want to aim a decent amount, but not too far to the right. Here, like 241 definitely works. Let's see, 241. You should be able to fool it and not hit the fairway. There we go. There I didn't aim it very far to the left to show like this strategy. You can avoid replays by just aiming less to the left. And it just works. So that's 24 surface. You can aim farther to the left in the second shot, but you run the risk of replaying. 26, you want to aim a bit to the left, like nothing ridiculous. You're looking for like 240, 241 works, I believe. 240 works very well. You just fool it. And yeah, you just make it. That just barely made it into the rough though, so you cannot be much closer than that. So that's 26. Just showing off some examples, the strats are the exact same. You wanna aim a bit to the right, not too much, a bit. 240 I believe works. You can even creep into 248 to 39s. But this 242, oh don't flatline. 242 works well. I didn't aim very far to the left. I should have aimed farther left because as the winds grip higher, the east component grows stronger and stronger. So you need to be careful about that. So you just make it. And yeah, that's 28. 30 is the exact same strat once again. You want to aim like very little to the right, just like press the button for 0.2, 0.3 seconds. Just that is more than enough. You end up at 240 or so, which is very good. You can aim pretty far to the left, like I just did there. The farther left you aim, the bigger the rough patch you can land on is. So if you feel like you've overshot or undershot, you can aim further left and it will save you. So if you also want to play it safer, you can aim further left. It may leave you with a worse second shot depending on the speed, but it works. So that is southeast. You need to have some finesse and some feel for how far right you need to aim, unless you get to 20, where you just do a simple strat. But overall, this wind is not bad at all. Now on to south. So you want to do a strat that is conceptually identical. I'm going to try off a strat that I thought about in my last few attempts, but I haven't actually tried yet. I don't think it's gonna work though. I think I'm very far. Yeah, nobody's considering. So ignore what I just did. Don't try to repeat it. What you want to do itself is aim like quite a ways to the right, because red's 20. With 20 south, you want to aim quite a ways to the right, and full band left. And at 246 yards away, you want to use the driver. You aim to the right instead of to the left this time. You don't want to aim too far to the right, because that can happen. If I aimed less far right, I would have made it in easily. I think that's still not making it. I'm not taking my own advice. So again, as I said, like in this area there's very little rough to bounce on. In this one there's a lot. So if you feel unsafe, you can do something like this. Maybe not so far left. Or maybe even you can do something like this. Aim very far left and full band right. I don't know if I would personally go for this strategy. It's not very precise, but as you can see, it leaves you very well. So this time I aimed less far left than I would like, but you just make that shot. 246 seems it's right around the edge of your limit. You want to aim for 245 yards in the first shot. So that is 20 south. 22 south is the same strat. You don't want to aim. I believe I aimed too far to the right there. I'm gonna aim less far to the right. I showed off what the backup strategy is if you feel like you aimed too far right. It's much better to aim too little to the right than too far. Here 241, I'm probably going to overshoot the rough with a full shot. Or maybe not, wow. It's good to have a good baseline, I guess. So you know the theory, I didn't know what I was playing. In 241, you make it easily, and boom, eagle. Now at 24, you don't want to aim too far right at all. Something like that is more than good enough. So 38, I believe that a full shot is not gonna like oh yeah, it's gonna bounce the rock. I shouldn't like preemptively jinx myself. I've been aiming too far to the right though, as you may have been able to tell. You want to aim just a tiny bit to the right, like not much, just a bit. And you can make a much better shot. Obviously, if you want to avoid replays, you can aim farther to the right. As I said, it's good practice to end up on the right side of the green instead of the left side. It's just nicer. But yeah, that's 24 south. Not much difference than what we've seen before. In 26, you want to aim even less. Just pressing the button for that amount of time, it's going to be enough. So 38, you aim a bit to the right. Something like this.
Great approach.
Yeah, just very nice shot.
Great eagle.
Now on to 28. In 28 you want to aim very little. I actually don't suggest like holding the button and releasing it. Oh, invisible ball. Shot 2499. Let's restart instead. Don't do that on your speed run, by the way, it's illegal. You want to like do 2 or 3 small taps to the right. That's the method I use. Pressing the button just leads you to aim too far to the right, which is not good. So you'll land right about here. Aim a bit to the right. Shoot it. And you'll end up on the green. Too close to the hole if you're not careful. But if you want to get an albatross and need to make a very precise shot, I would say that the risk of replaying is very low with 28 south. With 26 south, it can be pretty high, with 24 as well. But with 28, it's rare that you'll replay. 30 south, you want to no more than 2 ticks to the right, then bend left. You want to be as close to the rough as possible. Club up, aim a bit to the right, full it. You'll barely make it. There's not a lot of wiggle room with 30, but if you know the 2 tick strategy, it's one of the easiest wins in my opinion. It's very easy, you'll never replay, it's very nice. So that is south. As the wind's speed increases, it becomes easier. 20 south, not particularly easy wind, but 30 south in contrast is probably my favorite wind. Very fast, very easy to execute. So that is south. Now on to southwest. In my personal opinion, I think many would agree, this is the bottom of the barrel. This is the worst wind direction. I'm going to show you my strat. It's don't do that. Do a full shot. You want to aim a bit to the right.
Nice shot.
This strategy is going to look very dumb, but I haven't been able to find anything better. In general, you want to be like right in the middle of the line. It's hard. I cannot aim with the pointer right now, but you see like there is a darker green and a lighter green patch. You want the ball to be exactly in the middle of it. Since we have only 20 miles per hour, it's gonna be fine. You want to aim a bit to the left, not too far to the left, maybe around here. Full bend right. You'll hit that exact cliff. You want to hit precisely that cliff side.
Nice on.
You'll end up to the right of the green. From the right of the green, around 20 feet away. Always a full shot. Like from 2 to 2.6, 2.5 will work wonders. However, that is like a very hard strategy. You're not gonna execute on it most of the time. It is a consistent strategy, but you need to develop a really good feel for it. Like for example here, I accidentally bent too far left and I'm just not gonna make it, it's impossible. If I did the exact kind of shot I did before, I'm just gonna bounce on the rough. You can modulate, like where you want to aim forward to the left or right around here. I recommend aiming right around the back of the green. Like aim far, don't aim too far to the left if you feel like you're too close. Like if you're in the 239s, 238s on the first shot, don't aim too much and just shoot and bend. You have to be careful of not going out of bounds though. From here you need to aim a bit right. Or not, wow. Yeah.
Nice approach.
I guess my theory is wrong. Or something like that.
Great.
So yeah, this is like sort of the backup strategy if you mess up, the one I proposed. Or maybe you can just go for this, but remember, it's hard to get an eagle. I'm not really going to show the backup anymore for any of the following wins, so I'm just going to try to execute on the strategy that I believe is optimal.
Great shot.
So with 22, you want to do pretty much the exact same thing. I ended pretty close to the line between the patches, which is good. Aim a bit to the left, not too much. Shoot like that. Hit that cliff, that exact cliff. You'll end up right around here. Wow, look, F3 worked. So you can just make that eagle. Now on to 24, southwest. The amount of right you want to aim is pretty consistent because the stronger the wind, the farther the ball will be pushed to the left. So you need to compensate with more aiming. I actually don't know if this is too far away though. Maybe not. It was good. As the winds get stronger, you also need to aim farther to the left in the second shot. Or no, I got it backwards. You need to aim less to the left because the wind pushes the ball to the left more. So what you want to do is aim less and less before landing. So that is the strat with 24. From the 6, exact same story. You may want to start to play it a bit more safe. I think I'm too far to the left in this case. 252. Let's see though. It's preferable to be too... yeah. I didn't aim enough to the left in that case. And that is a risk. So it's a treacherous strategy. There I aimed too far to the right, and I ended up on that side, which I'm not even going to show, because nothing I show will be useful, because that part of the green is wretched and it just sucks. I'm way overcorrecting, it seems. You don't want to aim too far to the left. I doing something like that is good. So yeah, you bounce on the cliff. That is 26. I know I failed thrice in a row. It's not that 26 is much harder than the other ones. It's just that it's not a consistent strategy. Like, it is consistent, but it's a very high skill floor to get it every single time. And I'm not gonna get it every single time, unfortunately. This 28. I believe right around here is good. Yeah.
On the green.
Oh wow, don't do what I just did. I told you it's straight, don't even aim. I just aimed and died because of it. Also remember to not do it to that, do something a bit faster. So yeah, if you end up nailing the southwest strat, or make the pad afterward, you'll feel very bad for yourself if you don't do it. So this is 30 southwest. You wanna like 252 yards. Oh, 256, what happened? I'm just gonna restart. I think I didn't aim. I accidentally over-aimed to the right.
Nice shot.
So I'm just going to try again. Yeah. That looks much better. 253 still works. You really don't want to aim too far to the left at all. The wind is just very strong. So you just hit it like that. So you've seen countless times before. And you just make it.
Nice on.
So, yep. You just get an eagle.
Great eagle.
That is southwest. I hope I taught you the strategy correctly. Think you have, since you have examples, successful examples with every wind speed, it should be enough for you to sort of get the gist of it. It's by far the hardest wind with the hardest strat. It's very precise. But it's not impossibly precise. You need to make two good shots, but there are wins like in hole 17 that are harder than this, with strategies that are harder than this. And you still can very much get an eagle with Southwest. Now, onto West. West, believe it or not, you need to be careful for your first shot. West has a slight south component. If you're not careful, that can happen. You can just miss. With this, you saw that I never missed, but with West, you cannot. You want to aim, like, there is sort of a small ridge, like, where the out of bounds plane starts, and the rough is, and the green, and the fairway is. You want to aim, like, right around there. You want to cover that ridge. If you aim there, the ball is just gonna land in the middle, in the point closest to us, and that's good. With 20 miles per hour, you want to aim a bit to the right. Fortunately, here I don't have a much better strategy than to just full bend to the right and 3.5 more or less. This strat is not ideal, but it's more lenient than you would expect. If you overshoot, there's always the possibility that you'll bounce on one of the slopes, and undershooting is generally hard. It's rare that you'll hit the rough. If you hit the rough though, since you've used a 3 iron, there's a good chance you'll still be close enough to the hole to putt it in. With 22, it's the same strat. There's really not much difference. You kind of aim like a tick or two to the left. That makes you feel more comfortable. You do a 3.5 full backspin. I don't know if I mentioned it. I think it's pretty obvious, but you want to full backspin the shot.
Nice on.
And you just make it.
Great
That
eagle.
is 22 west. On to 26. You want to aim the exact same spot as before. It works for every wind. Here you don't want to aim left at all. Just limit yourself to doing the full bend 3.5. It works very well. You always end up, I try to end up on the right side. I cannot stress it enough. The left side of the green is much worse than the right side of the green. So you end up on the right side and you make the U. You want to aim the 26 exact same spot, maybe a bit closer to the right. Since the wind's speed is creeping up, it becomes more and more powerful. So you bounce right around there. With west, do not try do not try at all to just wing it and cancel your aim with shooting. It's not gonna end well for you. You're going to, most likely if not, you're gonna miss. And you will be sad at yourself. So you don't want to do it. For the second shot, I believe you saw it, but you just want to do, like, as always, 3.5 iron. Don't even aim. The aim is perfectly fine. 28. So the winds creep ever higher. Your aim needs to be closer and closer to the center, to the exact middle point of the island. 28, you want to aim a tiny, like a minuscule amount to the right. And again, full bend, 3.5 max backspin. You want to aim a bit to the right, mostly for replay prevention, and also to ensure you end up on the right side of the grid. So that is 28 west. 30 west is the exact same thing. You don't want to aim like exactly in the middle, a bit to the left. Very similar to the place I've shown off, like at the restart of this west. A tiny farther right than you may think. Well, you want to aim not too much to the right, just a little bit. And 3.5 full bend max backspin. Oh wow. That seems like it was a very good shot.
Nice approach.
I ended up on the left side of the green, but not by much, so it's not a huge deal. So that is west. It looks hard, but as you've seen, there's quite a bit of wiggle room in the second throw. The first throw is very precise, so please do take your time to aim it. I'm just going to show like what happens if you try to wing it. If you try to wing it, you can still make it, but you... Like, yeah, she saw there, I was very close to messing up. You can wing it if you're like very, very experienced, but for mid-tier players, I definitely do not recommend winging it. I recommend properly aiming. The frame window, if you wing it, is maybe 5 or 6 frames, 0.1 seconds. You don't want to hinge your run in being able to hit 0.1 second frame window. So yeah, that's 30 west, and that is west in general. Looks harder than it is, in my opinion. It's generally not too tough. 3.5 max backspin always works. Now on to northwest. Northwest is pretty demanding on your backspin technique, actually. For the first shot, you wanna like aim right around here, the exact same place we aimed for west, then full bend to the right. This time though, or maybe you actually want to aim farther to the left. I still made it, but that's not the shot you want to get, even if it's pretty fast. So, like aim farther right or farther left, maybe around there. I believe that is good. Somewhere in the middle of those two extremes is where you want to aim. You can wing this. You can cancel your aim by shooting and it'll work well. Here, in the second shot, every time you want to club down. What I mean when I say that this wind direction is demanding on your backspin technique is that for say 20 miles per hour, like there I did too much backspin. You want to do a small amount of backspin. This is how it looks with absolutely no backspin. What I showed before was like max backspin. In this case, no backspin worked, but I'm going to do it again with a more principled first shot. Because sometimes doing like a full shot is not gonna end up well for you. I don't know what's happening. I'm forgetting my northwest technique. I believe that's good aim. Like here, that's no backspin at all. I believe it still works, but it's a bit dicier. Yeah. So I guess with 20 northwest,
Nice approach.
you can get away with doing a bend shot with absolutely no backspin.
Eagle.
I personally didn't think it would work too well, but the evidence shows that it does. So just do what the video shows. 20 northwest, no backspin, no aim, full bend to the right. For 22 northwest though, that most certainly won't work. Here I'm going to show the first shot, like winging it. Nah. I don't know why my controller just did that, because that's not what I did. Let's try again. Something like that. It works. You can wing it, there's a decent window to do it, but again, probably you should aim it better. Um, Here's how it looks like if you do like absolutely no backspin. And do remember that that is a special scenario where I ended up pretty far to the left.
Great.
It worked this time, but it won't always work, which is like sort of what I'm trying to say in too many words. You need to be mindful of your exact yardage and where you are in relation to the hole to know how much backspin you need to apply. At 160, you probably won't need to apply much backspin. No, don't do that. Come on, don't do that. There we go. I believe this will still work, but it's not gonna work as well as you would like. Or you'll just hit the pole. But if I didn't hit the pole, I would have gone very far back. And if you go to the like left, back left, it's not good. So I'm gonna try for a third time to show off like good northwest. You know what? I'm just restarting that. I don't know what's up. I lost all my skill. Northwest, clear this maybe because direction. Want to do something like that? Abandon to the right. Here, I do not recommend doing no backspin. I recommend doing very small amounts of backspin. I believe I didn't execute it very well. That was just a no backspin shot and I ended up far to the left. Not far to the left, far back. I believe that is a much better shot. That does have some amount of backspin, or maybe not. I don't know, just don't take my word for anything. That's a middle amount of backspin. And the end is very, like, here in this the beginning. It is faster to do mid amount of backspin, seems. So that is 22 northwest. No backspin doesn't quite work. Middle backspin doesn't quite work. You want to do something in the middle, but at least for me that is very tricky. Starting in 24 northwest though, it just starts to get much easier because middle backspin starts to work better and better. A mid amount of backspin is just very nice, comfortable amount of backspin that you can hit. You don't want to aim either left or either right. You may notice that we haven't aimed near left nor right in any of the other holes. That is just mid backspin. And you end up over there.
Nice on.
Perfect shot. Just perfect. No risk of replaying whatsoever, and very easy putt. 26 is more of the same. You aim where you have been aiming, where it has been working, and you shoot full bend to the right. Now 52. Here you don't necessarily need to aim, but I prefer aiming a bit to the left, to the right. Just a tiny bit to the right to ensure that we end up on the right side. And then mid amounts of backspin.
On the green.
You just do a beautiful shot like that, you make it in. That is 26 northwest. 28, you do the exact same shot we've been doing. But gradually you need to aim further and further right, but it's at the same time, since the amount of north increases, it doesn't really matter that much. And at 150. Here I seriously do recommend you aim farther right. Like, not even out of personal preference, that is just better. And starting from here, you need to do more backspin than before. Like there I did more like 70% backspin, and 3.9 I still only made it there. I think I'm gonna to do it again, but now without doing 3.9, just doing it full. So you can see I'm doing a more substantial backswing. And that just leaves us right around here, which is exactly where you want to
Nice
end up.
on.
There is always, with 18, there is some amount of pseudo RNG on what exactly the slopes where you bounce are, but it evens out pretty much every single time. So doing a full shot, 70% backswing works. Now onto our very last wind, 30 northwest, which is very similar to 28 northwest. Aim right around there, full bend to the right. This time it seems I aimed farther left than before, but the strats are pretty much the same. In here, like aim a bit to the right. And you want to do a good amount of backspin. I don't know if that was enough backspin. Like it was enough, but I'm going to show like max backspin, how it looks. That's max backspin, the max I can do. And yeah, it worked better. So for 30 northwest, just do max backspin. Works very nice.
Great eagle.
So those are all the wins. Hole 18 is very special because there is only one pin, and every single wind is eagleable if you know what you're doing. So I hope I showed you the best strategies and that this was useful. Hopefully you learned something new, and if you have any questions or any strat improvements, you can just leave them in the comments or in the Wii Series Discord. So thank you for watching, and I hope you found this useful. And good luck on your Classic C or Golf Pro dreams. I'd love to see you play and get a good time